maintenance program, then you have been directed to this video either because you are a helper or you're a client of InSight Law. So welcome. My name is Bobby Fazy. I'm president of InSight Law. I'm an estate and business planning attorney. So the goals for this program are as follows. Number one is to familiarize helpers, beneficiaries, and family advisors with the InSight Law Legal Services Program. So we're estate planning attorneys, and we find that typically that one of the issues with regard to estate planning is the people that have been labeled or titled as or designated as helpers to help the plan creators if there's a disability or there's a death situation in the family. What do they need to know? What's the 911 information? What's their role? And we find that doing this proactively makes the process a lot smoother, because when you're in the actual grieving process, things don't sink in as well. So number one is to familiarize helpers, beneficiaries, and advisors with our program. Number two is to proactively prepare helpers to serve plan creators as needed. And then number three, to proactively prepare beneficiaries to understand how to maximize the value of their inheritance. So before we get started, there's some limiting assumptions that we find in the estate planning field, and limiting assumptions are assumptions that may not help, may not allow us to see the whole picture and find a good solution. And so one of this limiting assumption that a lot of attorneys in the estate planning world fall into is that we only get one chance to see you as the clients or the helpers. And so that assumption directs us to say, okay, if we only get one chance to see them, we better do a data dump, get them all the information that they need in one session, and that's just too much to do. And so what we're doing today, well, that's the assumption. And then the other assumption on the receivers or the helper side is that it's a negative experience to talk with the clients or the plan creators about death or disability. We would appear greedy. And so there's one thing that we do know is that when we deal with the special stuff of our clients, these are your personal effects. We have a really fancy legal term to delineate the special stuff. So you get your special stuff, and then you've got your junk. And so one of the things that we bring up with our client beneficiaries, and they always say the same thing, is we don't want any of the special stuff. And we know that you're lying on that, because it would just seem unnatural that you wouldn't want to have something of any type of family significance if it was any of the personal effects, if there was something like that. And so we want to just get those limiting assumptions out of the way. And so if we did have, what we do differently for the law firm, if we knew that people would find benefit in active plan participation, and we didn't have to do everything in just one session. And on the helper side, what would you do if you knew that the plan creators value a smooth transition? And that advanced discussion is key. You're not going to appear greedy by asking these questions that we bring up today. It's really just making sure that we've got a solid plan and you're able to identify the issues when you see them. So on our side, what we would do is make the plan or the program very digestible, get you to know the 911 information. And we know it's your goal to make it smoother. At least our client's goal is to make it smoother and easier for those that follow. So we want to try to take those legal issues off the table and make them, minimize them, so that when there is a disability or death, that we're not focusing on those issues, that those have already been taken care of. Our approach to familiarize with you, that's number one, is to get you comfortable with the way that we work as a law firm. We're not a typical firm in that we do not typically charge hourly billing. We have a membership program for our clients. And so you just need to be aware how to work with the law firm, how to communicate with our firm. So number one, our strategy, we utilize a three-step approach with all of our clients. Number one is develop the plan with counseling-oriented planning partners. And so we really focus on the counseling issues versus the word processing issues. Number two, and that's why it's highlighted, it's commit yourself and your family to a formal continuing maintenance and education program. That's where we're at right now, is the education. So we've got the plan already set up with our clients. Now we're maintaining the plan, and one of the goals of maintaining the plan is to make sure that any support helpers or people related to the plan know their role and know who to contact at the appropriate time. And then third step of our process is, okay, we've set it up properly, we've maintained it, secure appropriate assistance for you and your family to transfer your wisdom along with the rest of your wealth. Okay, so let me just make sure that the shares are all good and that you're on board. Okay, so there's 3 elements to our family education program. The wealth transfer training, that's what we're talking about. That's some of the issues that we'll be talking about today, is how to transfer assets. What are the goals for asset transfer during times of disability or death? And then wealth reception planning training is a different program, is how to receive wealth, the different options, how to protect the wealth that you receive. And then supporting wealth reception, how can that be supported to really maximize your inheritance? We're really at the wealth transfer training right now because we want to make this an easy to understand program for our clients and our helpers and not put too much information in there. So our wealth transfer training is broken out into 4 segments, and we're in nuts and bolts 1, which is basically the overview or 911 information. When something happens to one of our clients, and if you're a helper or a family member or a spouse, then what is your role? What do you need to know? And so that's what this program is for today. Nuts and bolts 2 is we do that every other, and we do this program once a year live the Saturday before Thanksgiving. Nuts and bolts 2 is our death settlement training. That's actually where we actually go through the steps. It's a deeper dive into the issues when a family member passes away. We do that every other year, and it's also posted to our website. Nuts and bolts 3 is dealing with disability settlement, so going deeper dives into those issues. If there is a member with a long-term care issue, a settlement issue, a disability type of issue, then we really hone in on those issues in that program. And then nuts and bolts 4 is for the beneficiaries, how to really maximize the inheritance. And so right now we're at nuts and bolts 1. And the goals for this program are simple. Know the law firm name and contact information. That's number 1. Remember there's a process, and the process produces the results, so follow it. Our focus, at least for this program, our focus as a firm is estate planning. And so this is what we do and our core competency. And so we want to make sure that you understand that we've done this before and we have a process. And our goal today is to give you an idea of the types of issues that you'll see and our process so that you will be familiar with it at the appropriate time. And then encourage interest in the planning participation. We just find that transparency and communication goes a long way in this field. So the law 911 information is called a law firm. If there is a disability, and we'll get into how to spotting some of those things, and then there's a death, give us notification. Our phone number, I just listed it on this PowerPoint. It's also on our website at www.insightlaw.net. And we will definitely show you our website as we go through this program. It has all of our contact information there as well. And then locate the client family organizer. We are also getting digital copies on our website as well. So we have 2 main books in our firm as far as binders that we use currently. The family organizer is also this white binder. Some of our engineer clients call it the operator's manual. That has all of the frequently asked questions, who to call, checklists, and basically how to run the plan. The red book, all of our clients have red books, and that's where all the legal documents are located. All the trusts, the wills, powers of attorneys, medical directives, all the legal documents are here. But really what we'll be talking about today is a lot of the things that are in the white book, the family organizer. So you know who to contact at the appropriate time. You know where the checklists are at as well. Okay, so you want to find those 2 main books, and usually if you don't know where those books are, contact the law firm. They have given us information on where to locate them, and we've got duplicate originals as well. And just relax. There's a dependable process, so just follow it. So goal number 2, besides knowing the contact information for the firm and when to call the firm, is number 2 is to prepare helpers through our family education program. So technology is really, we're able to leverage that to help us in this situation, assist us, make us more, make the communication between law firm and client and our resources available to you. And so you need to understand our technology, and we will do that. And then the second point in this section is summarize what are the absolute essential elements that you need to know for the plan to work. So we've broken it down to 5 keys that we'll go over. And then request your assistance in helping us make the plan work. We'll tell you what you can do on your end. And then also invite you to some more participation in our wealth reception planning programs through our web education program. So technology side of things, number 1 is really a lot of our resources are found on our website, www.insightlaw.net. So I will go there now. We also utilize a portal. And the difference between the website and the portal is the website has nothing client specific on it. It's all blank documents. If we have documents on there, it's mainly just resources, videos, education. The portal is where we are, actually there is a separate username and password for our clients, and we are eventually going to have all of our clients' legal documents on the portal, as well as any key other documentation, checklists, and the like. And then we'll go through our webinar services. You're on a webinar right now, actually, and we're also using Zoom video technology. So currently we use Zoom video teleconferencing to document a lot of these. All right, so let's go to the website. Let me show you what we've got on the website. And so this website, you want to go to, the first place you want to go to, it's insightlaw.net, the info for helpers and beneficiaries. So there's a big tab right up at the top right. You go ahead and click that. And if you are a helper and beneficiary and you haven't listened to this program in a while, it's required that we either come attend it live or through the web. At least once every 5 years, because that's when the content typically changes for this. And so you could come to the required training and 911 information for beneficiaries and trust helpers. And then the latest video will be up here. And that's actually the video I'm giving right now, the required training for helpers and beneficiaries. There's other programs that are here to get you familiar with what a trust is, some of the planning options that are out there. And I do short videos, and I found that these are some of the main videos that a lot of the helpers like. These are shorter up top here. The in-depth videos are marked as well. And so that's a great place to go. There's also another good place to be aware of is your DocuBank. So this is for any of the healthcare helpers. The DocuBank is a service that we utilize. All of our clients get a credit card called a DocuBank card that stores their medical directives, because typically you're not carrying your medical directives if you were in an accident, right? And so that credit card, typically we ask our clients to sandwich it between their health insurance card and their driver's license, so that if they were ever in an accident and needed to go to the hospital, number 1, they want to see who you are, so you have your license, and 2, if you can pay, there's your insurance card. The DocuBank card could be right there. And through our generic website, you could log in to it. If you have the client's PIN number and you have the card in front of you, all you need is the member number and PIN number, which is on the card, and you can access the directives. If you are an emergency contact, then you will also be notified if the card is being used, so they will actually notify you. And here's just showing you if you do have the member number and PIN number, and then your personal password. If for the clients, there's typically it's your zip code unless you change it, and you can change it at any time. So I'm showing the full member login is you'd have the member number and PIN number, which is on the card, and then your zip code would be on the would be your password initially, unless you changed it. And then you can just get a you can print a card. A copy of the card is here. So that's how our card looks like. And you can also print the documents. There's a little video here. If you wanted to view, print, and access the documents, could not be easier for someone to get access to your family's documents. And so that is that. And then if I wanted to do a medical snapshot, a medical medication list, which we definitely encourage our clients, especially as you get older, having a strong family history is really good. And so if you can put your medical snapshot and medication list on the DocuBank site, that would be wonderful. And we'll show you in a later slide how that happens. If you want to update your healthcare checklists and the like, that would be another option that you can do. So all of our clients, as part of the initial design, is to support the medical directive, which is a medical directive is a legal document designating your healthcare agent to make decisions for you when you can't communicate them yourself. And so that is authorized by the state, but we have checklists to support that because you can't just predict every situation. And so we find it's easier to edit than to create. And here's blank ones if you ever wanted to update your healthcare instructions. And then there's also hypothetical scenarios where we go into different scenarios. Situation A is really bad. You want treatment, you're undecided. You don't want treatment. Situation B is you got a small chance. So trying to give the main thing with these checklists is we want to use that to facilitate a conversation with your healthcare agents. We find that just goes a lot further than any type of medical document that we have. And a lot of the questions that or issues it'll raise is maybe as you get older, what are your views on living at home? If you had a catastrophic illness, is there a point where you would go into assisted living or nursing home? You need to have those discussions with the appropriate family members, or you want everything to be taken care of at home, and we've thought through the financial issues to support that. So those are, and then the portal, if you did want access to your client-specific documents, those are the portal, but there is a separate username and password to get to the portal, and the clients will have that information. And then our video library. So as we go through and do different topics, I'm documenting a lot of the key issues and a lot of common issues that we're finding from our clients. And so if you just want to learn about InSight Law, then we have videos here. You can just scroll through the different types of videos. Tutorials on trusts. So if there's a trust question, I've tried to break down a little different videos on it. And then just general tips and advice as well. Okay. And then people can make, if they're paying their online fees, they can make payments through the website. Funding information, we'll definitely talk about funding. This is where we have some supporting general information for funding. It's probably one of the common pitfalls in estate planning. So we'll definitely raise that. So that's our website. I wanted to give you a quick tour of the website. Now let's get back into the PowerPoint. That's insightlaw.net or insightlaw.com. We've got both. It'll redirect you to the .net. And remember to go to the tab at the top right, info for beneficiaries and helpers. It gets you to where you need to go. And here's just a review of all the things that you can do on the website. Great way to communicate with the law firm. So DocuBank, remember we talked about DocuBank, and that's having the access to the medical directives. But there's so much more to DocuBank if you want to take advantage of it. From the client side is the medication lists and medical snapshots really are great added benefits that will help support your planning, because when we talk to doctors about this, they say the more of a history that we have, the better decisions that we can make, better recommendations we can make. So medication list, or if you remember, if you go to DocuBank, is right there. You just add a medication. It's very easy to do. and then you can get your dosage, frequency, etc. Great way to centralize all of this. Once you start, if you're on several different types of medications and dosages, people trying to track all those things down, great to have it in one place. So here's just an example of that. And then the medical snapshot is just really your doctors. So that's great that they have your doctors and contact information. Just another great resource for DocuBank. And that's all part of our InSight Law Maintenance Plan. So urge you to, if you haven't, go ahead and fill those medical snapshots out, fill out the medication list if applicable, and that'll just help support the planning. The portal we also talked about, this is something where a lot of the key reports, the personal reports will be stored for our clients. And so at the appropriate time, if there is access granted, then we would go ahead and do that. And that's on a client by client basis as far as having the helpers have access to the legal documents. Other access points for the law firm on the technology, we do a lot of things by teleconferences. So we'll do phone appointments so we're not playing phone tag. We'll have, if you have a question regarding the planning, we don't charge additional for phone calls, but we need to know what it's regarding, and we'll get you scheduled so that our phone isn't ringing off the hook and we're not playing phone tag. Also, during a settlement, a death settlement or the like, we'll have scheduled calls to get us through the settlement and hit key planning points to get the estates closed out in a timely manner. So that's our technology, okay? Technology is really understanding the website, knowing the portal, knowing DocuBank, knowing that we have a lot of education resources online and that we're available to you. Number two is summarizing the essential elements that must be mastered for a plan to work. And so there's just a couple of keys that you have to be familiar with, and we're going to go into those right now. Number one is you need to know what an estate planning review worksheet is and why that's important. You need to know what an asset review report is and why that's important. And you need to know when to seek additional counseling and why that's important. And we'll talk about our plan personalization options. And you need to know what a trust protector is. If you understand those 5 keys, then you'll be well on your way. So let's see if we can get those communicated and get those across. So the estate planning review worksheet is basically an executive summary of all the legal documents. And so our clients all have it in the family organizers, and whether the helpers have it will depend on if they want you to have the reports. Eventually we'll get the reports at the appropriate time to everybody. But the estate planning review worksheet basically is just an executive summary of your plan. And we send this out to our clients every 2 years, and has the key points so that they don't have to go through all of the legal documents. Why is that important? You'll know your instructions at any given point in time. It's about a 10-page document. Know who the key players are, and it's a great way to update the plan. So every 2 years, we'll send it to our clients, and if they have no changes, they just sign and send it back. If they have changes, they'll put the changes in, and then we put the legal updates in. The laws are constantly changing, the techniques are constantly changing, so that's our way to keep the plan current. Also for clients, if you are going on trips and if you have a last minute change or you want to make an amendment, those do work as far as documenting your intent. So if you make a change to the estate planning review worksheet, sign and date it and send it to us. That'll work until we can get something formal and finalized as far as documenting your intent. The asset review report is also one of the key indicators. So the first one was the estate planning review worksheet. We have your instructions. And then the second is where are your assets. So if we have the instructions up to date and the assets, a good inventory of the assets, and we know where they're titled, we're in great shape. And I would say the assets are a common pitfall with most estate plans, is that the assets aren't fully verified. We don't have an accurate inventory of them. Not in our firm, but typically that's how that works. So the asset review report, here's kind of a sample. That's the front page of it. And it just inventories the assets as far as bank accounts, investment accounts, real estate, and the titling of the assets. And so if something is not titled right, then that is a big issue for us, because if it's not titled right, then there could be a chance that it would go through probate at death of those assets. And so that asset review report is kind of a scorecard to make sure that we have a plan for each asset, we've identified it. So if we're not getting all the information from our clients, that can't be on us, so we need full information. And if we made recommendations and we've made requests for certain items and haven't received it, that can't be on us either. So help us help you with the plan. And Ginny Oliver is our funding coordinator, who is really good at that. So contact the office, reach out to her, and she'll help you get the items in place. All right, so you know the estate planning review worksheet, the asset review report is a great, those two things will get us miles ahead of most planning. And then number 3 is a harder one, is knowing when to seek additional counseling. And so this is not very black and white, but the key point of this is that the law firm has a lot more, we have the ability to provide much more support and more concrete recommendations the earlier on in, if we're involved earlier on in key issues. And so really for you is to understanding when are these key issues, when it is important for us to notify the law firm, okay? And so first of all, you just need to know there's different venues for us that we utilize to do that. So if you need to do a family meeting, that's as the name sounds, we can get a family meeting together. We get all the family members or key family members together, and we talk through an issue. And that's the law firm is the one that's basically running that meeting. Personal counseling review, there's just an issue with regard that is more than just a word processing amendment that you're dealing with, whether it's a family, an instruction issue, a funding issue, something that's just more of a bigger picture issue, then you can call us and we can do it either through the phone or in person or through Zoom. An advanced PCR is an advanced personal counseling review session. That's for advanced planning issues. Maybe you have an irrevocable trust. Maybe you have a tax issue or an asset protection issue. Those would be more on the advanced side. Family counseling review session, if there's just something that we have to deal with. One of the common ones is a special delivery system where the client is no longer physically able to come in and sign the updates, but mentally no problem. So how do we accommodate? So every client is different, so we just got to put them on a special delivery program to make sure that the plan gets updated and everyone knows their role in that situation. Or just a family thinking session, you're just at an impasse with an issue. We can do that live on the phone through Zoom. One common one is that we've done in the past is choosing assisted living facility options. What are the options? Or driving, sometimes when the car keys have to be taken away, really tough conversation. Having the law firm support can help get through that, those issues. So those are the ways that you can meet with us. These are our communication channels: in-person, phone, Zoom, web, and then here are some of the issues that you'll see. And a good way to identify the issues is to understand where the questions are coming from. So I guess traditionally estate planning, when people think about estate planning, they think about it was more focused on the assets, getting the assets transferred, trying to avoid court if possible. The elder law is kind of a new concept. I don't know if that's the right word or term. I know what it means as far as what the content that we're looking for is the needs of the older person. There's just different issues that they're dealing with, whether it's navigating the healthcare system, if they are supporting another spouse that might, one healthy spouse and one is disabled, what are the issues and how do you support for living with a disabled spouse or living alone? If there's the beginning parts of maybe a dementia or maybe memory issues, help remembering to pay the bills, or if they're getting scammed out of money for financial abuse scams. And then if there's a change in living arrangements, when there's things to think about as well, maybe the first floor is a better place to put the bedroom. We can't get upstairs anymore. Just one fall and a broken hip can really change the landscape dramatically. So having those issues, and if you are going through these issues, identifying them and notifying the law firm, this will help us and know where you're at, and then also provide some support through that, because we do have resources that we utilize to help people dealing with these elder law issues. And then, so one of the programs that we have, and it's a separate video, it's just a proactive elder law program. That is one where if you are in the beginning stages of a long-term illness, or if you do have a long-term illness, stroke, dementia, Alzheimer's, then what do the helpers need to know, and what are their roles? And then planning for physical limitations in aging. So what are the physical areas that we have to address? Planning for some of the mental limitation issues, making sure that the assets are protected and the right people are managing the money, and that you have a plan. And then the financial limitations in aging care, the long-term expenses for assisted living and nursing homes can really be expensive, and so just depending on your area and the level of care, it could be anywhere from $4,000 or $5,000 a month to $20,000 a month plus, depending on the level of care. So it's really important to be able to ask the right questions and get the right resources in those situations. And then understanding how to navigate the healthcare system, having some patient advocates for you, and then understanding quality of life is paramount typically for our clients. And so what are their goals and what are their wishes, and making sure that they're honored. So the things that we find that will be helpful is just being prepared, knowing our services that we offer. And so I'm just going to go through how you can be prepared, the proactive preparation approach, go through, just touch base on the special delivery service, show you what we do on a disability situation, how to deal with the financial and legal issues, and then just identify briefly our family asset protection program. So the proactive preparation approach, this is for the helpers, that if you're a helper for a client's plan, a beneficiary supporting the plan, the things that you can do for us is just making sure that the clients have really done their personal instructions, have completed their checklist on the healthcare checklist. That's probably the most important, and that you've been privy to those conversations. If you are a healthcare agent, that you've talked through those issues with the client. The other items would be to make sure that you send it to any of the programs that we have, and any of the videos that we're doing here. Coming to this program is definitely an important program. We have resources on our website. I will go to our resource tab. You can check those out as well. And the resource tab on our website has a lot of good information from different clients. So let me show you that really quickly. So if you go to our resources tab, there's resource partners. So some of our resource partners, these are people that we have, we've done video, we've interviewed, we've vetted. Some of them we've actually done a videotapes of. And so you can, I know we've done one with a family tie. I just interviewed Peggy Brita. So we'll eventually have her video up here posted, and also in our video section. She goes through some of the key questions to be asking when dealing with assisted living care facility issues. What should you be asking? What shouldn't you? You know, what are the, what's covered? What are the costs? And how to find the best ones. And so there's different resources that we have here. Also helpful websites. And so David Solie is one of the ones that we like as far as dealing with, if you are dealing with a long-term care issue. And so caregiver support, aging alone, declining health. So different topics are listed there. And so as we find different sites and different resources to utilize, we'll forward them to you, but you just need to be aware of going to the website and knowing where to look for that. Our special delivery system service, basically for those who are physically not able to make it to the update program, you'll be on a special track so that we can help get you the plan updated. And so just adjustment in your annual membership fee because we would be doing some type of special program for you. The Disability Settlement Security System deals with the financial and the legal issues if there is a disability. So the way that we explain this, there's 3 core issues that you need to identify in a disability situation is when are you considered to be disabled? When is the client considered to be disabled? Then who is in charge at that point and what can they use the money for? So we utilize what's called a disability panel to determine our client's disability. So it's not just a medical opinion, but we also have a family component. So it's not oftentimes, if in a married couple situation, it might be the primary care physician and the spouse, and maybe the primary care and the spouse, and maybe an appropriate medical specialist selected by or approved by the spouse. Could be the kids, could be a family member or a friend. So the idea is it's not just a medical component, there's also a family or friend timing component of it that the person knows you. And the question that they would answer is, does that person have the ability to effectively manage their financial affairs? If they're not able to, then that triggers the disability settlement process. So then what we do with the trust-based plan is we just take that disabled person's name off the trust as trustee and put the new person's name on. And in a married couple situation, it'll usually just be the surviving spouse and maybe some helpers there as trustee helpers for them. Because typically a lot of times if there's one spouse is disabled, all the pressure is on the healthy spouse. So we want to provide them with a lot of support during that time as well. And then that's the who, and then what can they use the money for? So we talk through, and if the clients have financial planners to make sure that they do have money, do we want to live at home? Do we want to make accommodations to the home? Or no, we've seen some different places. We like this place if we needed to go to it. And so those are where those checklist support will be helpful too in having those conversations. The Family Asset Protection Program is where you're dealing with a long-term care illness and we're worried about depleting all of the family assets and resources, and there is a goal to protect some of those resources either for the surviving spouse or the kids. So you can do that. That takes more advanced planning, and that's getting into the world of maybe an irrevocable trust to position assets in a particular way or gift assets so that you can get qualified for different government programs if that is appropriate for you. So our big picture, our process that we utilize, these are all the different services that we are offering in the estate planning world. All of our clients are not taking advantage or don't you need all of the services, but this is what we're doing. This is our core competencies. And so coming into our programs or coming into our process, there's a couple different ways. Most people go through our typical 3-step strategy. That's the planning where, if you remember at the beginning of this program, develop the plan with counseling-oriented planning partners, setting the plan up solid, then maintaining the plan, and then securing appropriate assistance to transfer the wisdom along with the rest of the wealth. Majority of our clients are right there. Some of our clients, families, either they're beneficiaries or friends. If they're the younger side, we have next-gen planning, and so some of the clients' kids will be part of that planning, or some of the younger people going into the planning might do that. If you are dealing with a long-term care illness or want to get ahead of that, we do have a proactive elder law approach. And then for advanced planning cases, these are usually higher net worth situations, usually 10 million and up, dealing with some advanced strategies there. So once you're in the system, then everyone really goes through the financial integration formula. That's where the estate plan is coordinated with the financial plan, and making sure that we have the asset review report, a good inventory of assets, everything is titled right. And so that's where the funding comes in, the titling of the assets, and making sure that we update it going forward. And so we have our side of it is this continuous commitment compact where we're committing to our families, making sure that the plan is updated and they are also committing to updating us on the family situation and making us aware so that we can help support the planning as well. If our clients do need the proactive elder law program, there is a health concern or need and they want to get things kind of structured ahead of time and protect as much as possible, time is definitely on your side. If you have time, that's the best approach, because then we can position things. A lot of times people don't notify the law firm in time, and it's moms going into the nursing home now that we're getting that. A lot of limited options, okay? So the earlier the better. Settlement security system is when the clients pass away. We have a specific process that we follow. The main one that you need to know is to notify the law firm and that there is a process, and then we'll get you scheduled for the initial settlement call or the meeting, and then we lay out all the roles and responsibilities there. We've done this before, and so we will make sure that all the legal issues get covered. For clients that want to take for the survivor support program, surviving spouses, they can continue with us and we'll support the planning, and they have specific concerns and needs for themselves that are different than just typical married couples. So we've identified their issues and broken them out to a specific program. An enhanced settlement program is for clients that want to prepare the beneficiaries before they receive their inheritance. So they're not ready yet. Maybe they have some type of training program that they want before they receive the wealth, because there could be a lot of issues associated with that. And then the empowered inheritance program is just supporting the beneficiary's inheritance. If there is money to protect there, how can we support it on our side? So we do have a program to support it. The asset protection features are the biggest one, is that a lot of the wealth can be passed on to the next generation and have a high degree of asset protection for them if they know how to run the plan right. Okay, so those are all the different areas that we offer on the estate planning side. So the last thing you need to know is, as far as essential elements, right? So the main essential elements were knowing that what the estate planning review worksheet is, just an executive summary of the plan, a Reader's Digest version of about 10 pages of all the key instructions. Knowing what the asset review report is and why it's important is as a current inventory of all the assets, and we know if the titling has been done properly by the marks on the report. Also knowing when to seek additional counseling, not as black and white, but the key is health issues are main ones, big picture issues, living arrangements, family issues, health issues, financial issues that are being dealt with, big issues. Getting the law firm integrated earlier is best. And then just making sure that they are doing their checklist, the plan personalization, supporting that they've completed those. And then the trust protector support is the last element. And the trust protector is a party to the trust, but they're not an original party to the trust. They could be designated down the line. And so there's typically 3 parties to a trust: the trust maker, that's the one creating the trust, the trustee is the one managing the trust, and the beneficiary is the one receiving the benefit of the trust. And so the trust protector is this 4th party that comes out and is designated at key times, during a client's disability or after a client's death. So why would we want to have that? So let's say that our clients become disabled and then they overhaul the tax laws, and so mentally disabled, so they're not able to sign. But they need these new tax provisions. Well, the trust protector can be designated by the trustee or by the beneficiaries, and the trust protector is someone that cannot be related to the client, should have a strong understanding of the law, and should have a strong understanding of what the trust document and know the intent. And so if one of the intents of the clients is to minimize taxes, and they've overhauled the tax laws and they just need to sign this update, then we can do that as long as we have those in place. And typically the law firm is designated, but we don't have to be. But we're usually in the best position to be that trust protector. And even after death, if let's say that the investments have been managed properly and these trusts are going on for generations, well, we can definitely provide flexibility to those trusts and have tax provisions from 20, 30 years down the road be put in with this trust protector support. So really powerful type of planning flexibility there. So you understand the technology, you understand the essential elements, and so we want to ask you, this is the same thing that we've been talking about, is help us empower the plan's creator's legacy. So ARR support, just get the law firm lingo, is asset review report. Just support us there, just making sure that, hey, have you made sure that all the assets have been titled right, everything is inventoried? You know, level of detail with regard to the planning disclosure is family by family. But basically, all I care about is just knowing that someone is checking up on it and say, hey, have all the action items been done? Because our funding coordinator here is really working hard on that, and so we're here to support that. And if when you're ready, let's do it and get it done. Healthcare checklist support, have conversations about it. This is a difficult area, but I find communication will go a lot further down the line. You're not helping anybody by not having that conversation. And then on the non-material wealth, this is more of the values, the stories, the life lessons. And so I use George Washington as an example of George Washington passed on some swords to his nephews and his cousins, and basically when you get a gift, he could have just left the gift and said, I just give you this sword, but he left it with some words that really kind of put the emphasis on it, right? And so these the words that he used said, these swords are accompanied with an injunction not to unsheathe them for the purpose of shedding blood, except it be for self-defense or in defense of their country and its rights, and in the latter case, to keep them unsheathed and prefer falling with them in their hands to the relinquishment thereof. So he really put a charge with that, right? And so there was something with that gift that the people that received those swords did not, you know, they kept them in the family, and there is a lot of value and there's a story behind it. And so our point is, if there are stories to keep track of and certain items, why not? And on our side of it, on the legal side, let's do that. It makes the plan stronger. There's very simple exercises you could do. One simple exercise is just to go to the website and just complete a personal family legacy declaration. So all you need to do is go to info for helpers and beneficiaries. And then you go to blank client documents. And you can do a personal legacy declaration just like that. And you don't even need our involvement. You would just write it in. And then we would just do the email there. But we would write it in. I'm having a little bit of action on something here, but I will update it. And I will definitely update this when we get a chance on it. So the idea behind that, let me try it one more time. And if not, I'll fix it. There we go. So the second time's a charm. So the personal legacy declaration is you can just answer certain questions and write them, and then send us a copy so that we can put them part of the planning. The other way we can do it, and this has been great, is we can do audios, carefully designed little 20, 30-minute conversations, and we just document those audios, and that's part of your planning. We also have done videos for our clients, and then also there's purposeful trust provisions where we can actually put some of your own voice in there, different stories, values at certain points of the trust. So let us know if you are interested in it. The audios, the videos, and some of the purposeful trust are additional fees, but we would be happy to, quote you that ahead of time. They're very reasonable with regard to the value that's bringing across. If you just want to handwrite something yourself, great. My goal is just to raise those issues, and we find that the beneficiaries really love those sides. So the family education program, just knowing a little bit more about InSight Law, is with our maintenance program, we're a little bit different than most other firms. And so with the maintenance program, as long as our clients are on it and they pass away, the families can hire us and we'll do the administration at predetermined rate, reduced settlement rates, because you're on our maintenance program. and it says with NMB1, which means with nuts and bolts 1. So every 5 years is when we ask you to come to this program, and as long as you come to this program, then you'll get the lower settlement fee option that we offer. And typically, right now, what we do is the 1.25% on the size of the net estate. And so the web participants, if you come through with this on the side, then there is an open book quiz. So we're going to ask you to answer some questions with regard to what you've done today, and just email them to us to make sure that you've actually you've actually listened to this. So I will put the quiz in at the end of the program. And then the main things with regard to the threats to a plan to work is that the plan's not updated properly. And this is where we really feel like we thrive, as far as making sure that the plan is updated, the legal instructions are updated, the assets are updated. So that's a threat to planning, but we're addressing that with our maintenance program. And then the unknown costs and process on debt. So we just lay out the administration fees, we lay out what the process is. There's no guessing. We know where everything is at, as long as you've maintained, or families maintain their commitments and disclosed everything. So it's very predictable side of it. So our 3-step strategy, again, is develop the plan with counseling-oriented planning partners, maintaining the plan, commit yourself and your family to a formal maintenance and education program. That's where we're at now, so that when something does happen, we can secure appropriate assistance for you and your family to transfer your wisdom along with the rest of your wealth. So the keys to controlling costs, just so for the helpers and beneficiaries to know, is that we need full funding. Full funding means we have titled all the assets properly, either in the trust or to the trust. The reason why that reduced costs is that we can avoid court completely after death. And when we're not on the government schedule, we find that costs go down. Proactive trustee and beneficiary training reduces costs, so that you know our process, you know what to do. You give us a call and just know that there's a process to follow and that we've done this before. We're going to be fine. And then the proactive engagement approach, as long as the clients are on the maintenance plan, we'll agree to do the administration at the predetermined rates, as long as you decide, as long as it's confirmed on your end that you hire us at that time. We can't ethically bind anybody on that, so it has to be a mutual engagement. The other item that we want to bring up is that a lot of people think that because a death occurs and that things are done in a trust, that there's no court, there's no work to be done. We want to dispel the thought that the red books that we use, the books that we use to hold all the legal documents, red books, these are not magic books. When someone dies, that's a major life event. So every one of their relationships have to be closed out: government, tax, financial, closure. Everything has to be had to be tracked at that point in time. It's just that we're not on the government schedule if we have the trust side of it. So we will get it all set up. We'll do it right for you, and we'll get you in the right place. But there's an administration at death, and we need your help. And the key is that you know to notify the law firm and then follow the process. Our mission is to create plans that work for people who care. We know our clients' families care because they've taken the time to do this. And so for our side, it's our mission. We feel that this is a great area of law. It always is very challenging for me, my team. We really have a mission to help people in the worst possible times and getting things in order for them. We really can see the payoff, and it's very rewarding side of the law for us. So any questions or answers, any questions would be the time. You can shoot those out through email. The questions can be emailed to the following email addresses. It would be NNA, N like Nancy, N like Nancy, A like Apple, at insightlaw.net, INSIGHT law.net. Also, the answers for the quiz can go through there, so I'll give you the questions for that. Let me just get to the quiz page and Okay, so the quiz questions are as follows. What does the DocuBank card store? So if you recall, DocuBank is the service that we utilize to store one of our key legal documents. I'll give you a hint. The last word is directive. And then the next one is, what should be one of the first things you do on the legal end when a loved one passes away? So what is the one of the 911 informations that you should do to connect, to make sure that we're connected on our end to get you through the legal side of the settlement? So those are the quiz questions. What does the DocuBank card store? What should be one of the first things you do on the legal end when a loved one passes away? Go ahead and email that to nna@insightlaw.net, and any other questions. Nusha will make sure it gets to the right place. Nusha Nazmi Ansari is our education director. And then also just watch for emails for any of the future nuts and bolts programs or family education programs as they come available. Then if you do have a family organizer, you can put the PowerPoint to tab 4. Otherwise, the family organizer will be posted on the website. It is a very generic, it doesn't have anything client specific on there. And then just webinar attendees, just reply to the quiz questions, and then thanks for attending. This has been Bobby Fazy, President of InSight Law, for the InSight Law Family Education Overview Program.